Hi class, my name's Steve Albers. For my video project, I will be doing a how-to video for changing the oil on a 2009 Toyota Highlander. What makes this oil change unique is that it uses a element style filter versus a spin-on type filter. The spin-on type filters came about in the 1950s. They were pretty common all the way up until the middle 90s when they started incorporating the elements. European, Asian manufacturers started using this, and then shortly thereafter GM and Ford are starting to go to these. The reason I think they're going to these is that these are a little bit more to make. They're made of metal and has the same internal filtering structure, but they also have to dispose of these, where these they just throw away because there's really no oil in this. This actually still contains oil after they take it off, so they have to crush it or drill a hole in it or something to get the oil out. So that, and if these are actually the same price when you go to the store and buy them from Toyota, especially, they're the exact same price. So I'm pretty sure this doesn't cost that much to make versus this metal part and everything else that goes inside of it. They do include the oil rings for the housing that's on the car, and the little drain tool that you use to drain the housing before you take it off. I did have to invest when I bought the vehicle. This is actually the housing removal tool. It actually, you use a big socket wrench and remove the housing that way. And then I have some other tools, socket wrench to remove the plugs, and various sockets to remove the drain plug, and of course the drain pan and the oil. So let's get started. First thing I had to do for the oil change is to get the car off the ground. This car has about 10 inches of ground clearance underneath, but it's a little easier if I get it up off the ground a little further. I do that by running it up on ramps. It gives me about an extra 5 to 6 inches. I don't like using jacks. They're not very safe, the jack stands and stuff. I'd rather have it on ramps. So that was the first step. The next step I like to do is drain the oil. Getting the oil going and in the pan is probably the messiest part. But I take my 14mm socket. This is actually the oil pan for the motor. Here's the drain bolt. Just loosen it up and let the old oil come out. You can see it's pretty dirty, so it's time to be changed. That'll take about, usually let it sit there and drip for about 5 minutes. While that's dripping, I'll go ahead and take off the panel for the actual pan, or the filter housing. This is actually the access panel that they put into this, so you can access it without having to take this whole fairing off. So at this point I can go ahead and take the cap off. It's basically going to be taken off with an extension and the ratchet. It fits in there, and it takes a little bit of force to get it off of there. But it's basically just the cap. It gives you access to the area where you can put in the drain plug. Here is the assembly that actually does the draining of this housing. In the housing there's actually oil still, so I need to get that out of there. All you do is you just press this into this opening, and it drains the oil in there. So here we go. So I took out the drain plug, and we're ready to remove the filter housing. This is the special tool that I had to purchase and get from Toyota. It just goes on the end of that right there and twists off. As you can see, there's no way I could get anything on there, and
The articles I found to change this, some people put on vice grips and stuff, and it just ruins this housing. So I don't want to do that. So this just slips on there like that, and it turns off. There's the rest of the filter with the oil.
Once we get the canister out, then we can disassemble the housing. This slides off, and that can just be thrown away. The housing, I'll need to rinse it out and clean it up, but here's that O-ring that they give you in the kit. Just take this off and throw that away. Take my towel and just wipe it off. So these are the two O-rings. The manual instructions say that these have to be wet when you put them back on. And coat the new O-ring with oil. Put it on there. And it seals that cap. Next one is this one. On there. Like so. And the new element that slips on there like so. And now it can be put back on the car. So after I cleaned up the canister, put in the new element, I tightened up the drain cap. I put this is actually the drain bolt for the oil pan. I put a brand new gasket on it so that the pan doesn't leak, or the pan bolt doesn't leak when I reinstall it. So right now, we're ready to get back under the car and switch it out. So I'll go ahead and install the drain plug back into the pan.
Go ahead and install our oil filter cartridge assembly. I wiped it out a little bit before I went ahead and put this in. And I put it in by hand first, so I know it's tight. My cap on there. And just make it snug. And that is it.
The last step is to fill up the engine with oil. Once the engine's filled back up with oil, I go ahead and start the motor, make sure that there's no leaks coming from underneath the engine anywhere, and after that, it's done. We're done with the oil change. All said and done, it's about a 30-minute process. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions or anything, and talk to you later. Thanks.